Today I'm talking to Heather about her journey. After experiencing a series of severe ear infections, Heather lost her hearing and developed a Bell's palsy and a serious long-term condition called ankle vasculitis. She will tell us more about the profound impact that this had on her and also the remarkable journey that she's had back to work and back to health. She'll talk about some of the hard lessons that she's learnt and the mindset shift that made the most difference. She's got so many valuable insights to share with us today. Heather, thank you so much for joining us and for sharing your story. I wonder if you could tell us about your life before this happened. So maybe if I'd met you a year before those first ear infections, how would you describe yourself in your life?
I was a happy, outgoing, bubbly person. I was out most weekends for the rugby, listening to music and just singing in the bedroom, as you do, working full time, just doing normal day-to-day stuff, socialising. January 2025, I was having severe earache in my right ear. I've been to the pharmacy who said it was Swimmers ear, which is like a basic ear infection. They gave me drops. It didn't work. So I went to the doctors a week later, and I went to the doctors 5 or 6 times, and I was given different antibiotics, different drops, different steroids. None of that was working. I'm losing fluid from my right ear at this point, but the pain was unbearable. I ended up taking myself down to A&E, and they did something similar. They gave me more antibiotics and drops, and again, nothing was working. So this was February. It wasn't until March 25 did I end up getting admitted to hospital. From then, I had further tests done. I was then starting to lose fluid from my left ear. I pretty much lost my hearing in my right ear, but I never got diagnosed at this point. The fluid, I had several operations on my ears to drain the fluids from my ears, but it didn't work. The fluid ended up causing nerve damage to my brain. A lot of it wanted to do everything all at once. I wanted to get better overnight. I wanted to go back to work. I wanted to go back to the rugby. I wanted to see my friends. I wanted my hearing back. I wanted to do everything, but that's not the reality of it. You just have to do things one step at a time. So when I got out of hospital, my mobility was quite poor. So I started off with physiotherapy, hydrotherapy, I think I mentioned before, crutch, walking stick. I'm currently on nothing. I am unaided now. I was under audiology, so I now have, it's called a cross hearing aid. So in my right ear, because I'm fully deaf, that is a microphone. My left one is a hearing aid, and I fully rely on these to hear. So getting back into work was part of my journey. I knew that I was never going to be the person I used to be before it all happened. I was never going to be 100% fit again. So with different help from specialists, I learned that what a normal, regular person would feel 100%, this is now my 70, 80%, or what is my 100 will be 70, 80 to someone else. So I've had to accept that. I had to grieve for the old me and then accept these changes, which it was difficult to do, but I had to do it if I wanted to live a normal life again. So going back to work, I was off work for 7 months, in hospital for 3.5, 4 of them. With help from yourself, speaking with HR, I went back to work in September, doing 2 hours a day for a week, and then 3 hours a day, 4 hours a day. In December, I went back full time, and I am still doing full time now.
So that process of your return to work, can you tell us a bit more about how it went and, what you had to do to get back into work? That must have been huge for you to be off for so long.
Yeah, I was nervous about going back after being off for so long, but the longer you're off work, the harder it is to get back in. And getting back into work was the best thing I did because it was the final part of my journey to get back into normality, to going back to work, seeing my colleagues again, seeing my friends again, and getting back into a normal routine. So I just started off with light tasks, just like emails, things like that. We broke down my work tasks green, amber and red for the easy tasks, be a little bit more complex than the ones that were just a no-go at that time. So we broke that down with yourself and my boss, and they were happy and really accommodating for that as well. And work have been so supportive.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there were some adjustments as well, weren't there, to how you worked. Can you recall some of the things that you kind of asked for to make life a bit easier? We call them adjustments. Like what types of things?
Yeah, so in order to get back to work, I have to have like a microphone, which I wear around my neck, which connects to my laptop, because if you're on like a Teams call, I can't put earphones in my ears, so I can't listen. That was one. Have access to a disabled toilet. I am now a blue badge holder, so it was finding space parking at work, like knowing where they were. Having a buddy system. So, for example, if the fire alarm went off, I wasn't allowed in the building on my own. Someone had to be there with me. So, in case of a fire alarm, someone would be there to help me down the stairs. Because obviously, like 3 flights of stairs. Well, it's 6. I'm on the 3rd floor. You can't use a lift in the emergency. So there was things like that.
So it took you a few months to get back to work. But you started at 2 hours a day. And I think this will interest some people, because there are people who might be surprised that you didn't wait until you were better before starting work. But it seems as though you feel that work was an important part of you getting better.
Yeah, definitely. And I wasn't going to wait until I felt 100%, because my new 100% is 70% to somebody else. And until you learn to accept that, you could be sitting around waiting to get back into work feeling, oh, I won't go back to it till 100%. But getting back into work could push you to your 100%. You've got the socialising with your colleagues, seeing your colleagues again, doing your work. That is all part of your healing journey. That is all part of your process. So if you are thinking of not getting back into work, I'd highly recommend that you try it, at least do a phased return to work. No one's saying go back in work full 7 hours a day. Do a phased return and see how you are. Build it up. I started on 2 hours a day in September, and it took me till December to do it full time. And it was the best thing I ever did. It was the final part of my journey.